In early 2026, Americans watched their local gas station signs tick past 4, then 5, and in many places, $6 a gallon. That is a 30% price spike in a matter of weeks. Economists had widely predicted that baseline inflation was finally cooling down. Instead, it roared right back, instantly squeezing household budgets across the country. The immediate catalyst hit on February 28th. Targeted military strikes on Iranian nuclear sites triggered a massive geopolitical retaliation. Within days, Iran completely closed the Strait of Hormuz. Suddenly, 20% of the world's total oil and liquefied natural gas shipments were trapped in the Persian Gulf. While it is easy to blame the war for high prices, the data reveals a compounding math problem, a situation where sudden military conflict is violently colliding with a set of pre-existing trade policies. To understand why this energy shock hurts so much, we have to look at the months right before the missiles fired. Consumer wallets were already stretched to their absolute limits. Take a look at this chart tracking the effective U.S. tariff rate. In 2024, it sat at 2.4%. By late 2025, a series of new trade policies pushed that rate to a peak of 7.7%. That functions as a massive surcharge on imported goods. These tariffs structurally disrupted the just-in-time manufacturing networks that global industries rely on. When parts get delayed or taxed at the border, production slows down, and companies pass those new overhead costs directly to the buyer. Before the first shot was fired in the Middle East, this domestic trade policy had already placed an estimated $1,000 hidden tax on the average U.S. household for the year. That $1,000 drained savings accounts and eroded wage gains. It created an extremely fragile economic foundation, leaving the average consumer completely exposed to the next market shock. Then the military escalation hit. In a matter of weeks, Brent crude oil prices skyrocketed by 55%. This technical monitor shows the violent market reaction. Brent crude oil surged from $72 to well over $120 a barrel in record time. The United States is currently the world's leading oil producer. Yet that domestic surplus has done nothing to stop the bleeding at the American gas pump. Domestic shale production and LNG exports succeed at keeping the top-line national GDP afloat, but they do not dictate the retail price of gasoline in your neighborhood. Oil is a globally traded commodity. Its price is set by worldwide supply and demand. So a sudden supply shock in the Middle East instantly becomes a price shock in the American Midwest. Those global prices are being driven even higher by escalating geopolitical tension. On March 22nd, President Trump issued a severe ultimatum. He declared that if the Strait of Hormuz was not reopened within 48 hours, the U.S. military would wipe Iranian power plants off the map. Domestic energy production provides an illusion of safety, but the math is rigid. In a globally traded market, local consumers will always absorb the financial cost of foreign panic. Now combine those two layers. You take the original $1,000 baseline tariff burden and stack on the new $700 wartime energy surcharge. For the average American household, that $1,700 means an immense reduction in everyday purchasing power. Zooming out to the macro level, this domestic consumer squeeze is simultaneously fracturing a record-high $35 trillion global trade network. Because of this compounding pressure, overall global economic growth is being rapidly revised down to a sluggish 2.6%. These charts visualize stagflation, soaring inflation colliding with slow growth. The top graphs show sustained elevated headline and core inflation. Look at the one-year inflation expectations chart, bottom left. That sharp spike and wide uncertainty band prove how this deeply harms citizens and drags recovery. The logic of low-cost trade has been replaced by the logic of security. Geopolitical risk is no longer an external shock. It is a permanent internal component of the global price-setting mechanism, paid by the consumer every single time they spend money.